Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're driving at Kyoto Driving Park. I believe this is the first time we're using this layout with the Yamagiwa plus Miyabi. So adding a little bit of variety into the mix. And something that was pointed out a bit earlier, actually, the Miyabi layout has 3 different sectors, where the rest of the Yamagiwa track also has 3 sectors. So there's a 6-sector circuit, 3 of which very, very short sectors. Just a little fact about this. Another fun fact about this is my least favourite track in the game. I hate it. Terrible circuit. But here we are, off for qualifying. Right, on for the standings. There you go, that's what we usually do at this point. I'm out of it tonight. I'm very tired, just like Chubbs is, to be fair. If my internet will load, my internet's been very slow tonight. We'll get the standings up now. There we go, so for the Drivers' Championship, currently it is Matty who is leading. After all, very nice performance last week for his first ever round of GTRC. Leading by 6 points ahead of Tyler Davison, and then Davison is just 4 points ahead of Jake Witchell, 47 points in third. Sutters, 45 points in fourth, and Kabinski, 41 points in fifth, and then it's close just behind him with Luke Clark as well on 39. For the team standings, it's Halex Racing, who are tied on points with LCR at 90 at the top. Then it's Team Brown, 74, 515, 62, and then Team Spirit and Project One, 58, 52 respectively, with Nova at the bottom. But we are going to go on board with Chubbs for the first flying lap of the night. As he takes turn 1, which is a interesting one. There are multiple different lines you can take through this corner, and to be completely honest, I don't know what the optimal one is. But whatever line Chubbs has took looked to be a good one. He's gotten a nice exit out of that corner, and then it should be flat up here for everyone except the McLaren. Oh, he's gotten all over that curve there, which can really spit you out in a horrible way if you're not careful. And then it's very wide through this corner, and yeah, nicely there. There's a difficult old hairpin, that one. Kind of a big bump. And then back through to these flat out S's. And then hard on the braking again. You just want to get the exit nicely done there, try and get on that curb there, and he's gotten close to it. These are all difficult. These are all the kind of corners I hate in a racetrack, to be completely honest. He's gone extremely wide through there. But I, among others of the drivers, am not a fan of this track whatsoever. And I'm not going to hide my biases whatsoever. It's a terrible track. It's hard on the braking once you see the 50R on the tarmac. And then back on the throttle, he's exiting it in third. Short shifting to get better traction. And then one of the more challenging corners on the circuit is this one. It's kind of a weird little chicane, if you want to call it that. You want to get all over those curves, just make sure you got the best speed on the exit possible. It's not all about the entry. And again, taking a very late apex for this one. He's not done a too great job there, I'll be honest. Should not have shifted down to first, but you know, it didn't look like it went too well, shifting down to first. It's a 17.2, which will not be the quickest we'll see tonight. It is, however, quicker than his teammate Adam Hans. Jake Witchell, not expecting much from the Team Brown McLarens tonight. They are quite far down on pace, but someone who is not down on pace is Will Sutters with a 2.16.4. Tyler Davison with 2.16.6. Slots in behind him P2. And then Luke Clark, 2.17 dead. I know there's more for him in that lap time. The same with Adib Khan, 2.17 dead. Also, the other drivers, Cameron Hill in P7 with 2.17.3. Simon Hart, 2.17.6. We saw Witchell a second ago. again, I'm not expecting much out of that McLaren. And then the rest are yet to set a lap. We'll go back on board. Oh no, Will is not improving on his time whatsoever. Is anyone improving on their time? Maybe Tyler Davison will give us someone to watch. And it is an improvement for Tyler Davison. As it stands at the moment, it would not be enough to snatch away provisional pole. However, any improvement is a good improvement. He's nailed that exit perfectly there by the looks of it. Very nice job from Tyler there. He has lost time a little bit through his corner, so maybe he did it better on the other time. Very wide at this corner. It's all about maximising exits on this circuit, taking very strange lines. There is something you can do at this track, which is latching your inside wheels beyond the curb, so it kind of runs the car through like it's on rails. But I don't actually think many of the cars on this grid can do that. I know for a fact the McLaren is unable to do that. The GTR maybe as well struggles to do it. Oh, something he is struggling to do is keep it on the track, and that is Tyler Davison off at the moment and back into the pit lane. Yep, that did not go well for him whatsoever. But can his teammate do anything better? He is on his outlap, is Luke Clark. You're not going to get many laps done in this qualifying session. It has gone very quickly because the lap time is just over 2 minutes long, which is not ideal for certain. It's kind of high risks, high reward, you have to say. Cameron Hill does improve, and that improvement takes him up to P5 and immediately straight back to the pits for the fresh set of softs, because tyre wear is very intense around here. We're going to have a 7-lap race for all 3 of the races, and it's going to be challenging for many of the drivers out there. Specifically, the team brand McLarens are going to struggle quite a lot. But we'll watch Luke Clark for this lap. Will he be able to take provisional pole away from Will Sutters? He certainly got it in his locker, but can he do it on track tonight? He gets the exit done very nicely there, all over that curb, and then it's flat out through here. You just need to nail these apexes, and he's done exactly that. Little wobble there on the left-hander, but he is going purple. He is improving on Will Sutters' lap time, so again, not fully braking. You still want the car to be able to rotate properly, and he's done a pretty good job of that corner, you have to say. Luke Clark on for an absolute flyer at the moment. He's improving by a 10th on his personal best. Oh, that's fine. I think that's fine. I think that is the line. Doesn't look very quick, but I think that is the line. So in the first 2 sectors, he is a 10th up on his personal best. Let's see on the third. 2.5 tenths up on his personal best. 3 more sectors to go. 4 tenths to gain. Can he get provisional pole? Can he snatch it away from Will Sutters? He's lost a bit of time through there, but maybe this is a big corner he can regain at that time. He's taken that very nicely there, and he's all over that exit curb. Still not the time he needs to overhaul Will Sutters. Maybe not even his own teammate Tyler Davison. And he exits that one in third. All about traction with this car, and I imagine with the Supra as well. Traction, however, is just kind of a given in the other 2 cars. And he's 4.5 tenths up, so maybe this is where he lost his time on his last lap. But is he going to be able to get pole? He might be able to overtake his own teammate. Oh, there's a slide on the exit of there. He has to correct that. And Luke Clark now rounding the final corner, taking that on the exit curb again. This is going to be an excellent lap, but will it be enough for provisional pole? Luke Clark does not get, he doesn't even overhaul his teammate. I was going to say the end of that lap did not look as good as the start of it, but Luke has another chance. He did manage to make the timing line before the 10-minute qualifying session, well, the 10 minutes off the qualifying session was up, so he does get another lap. Whether he'll make the most of it or not is a different question entirely. When he didn't get another lap is Cameron Hill, and he had a penalty as he crossed the line there, which is incredibly unfortunate for the Honda driver. Shall we watch someone different we haven't really seen much of? No, Stein's finished. Where is... Oh, Kabinski's back here. Damn. He's behind 2 cars in the pit lane. Can he get himself up from last place? Doesn't seem like he's having the easiest time around this track, but he is currently getting close to Siltala's time in front of him. And again, he's really not having a good time in this Supra around this track. And certainly, especially from me driving the cars, I feel like the Supra is probably the best car for this track. So I'm surprised to see 2 GTRs up in the top 3 with a Honda. But maybe that's more driver than car. Nothing to take away from Will Sutters's pole position lap. It was a very nice one indeed. A lap that no one's really come too close to. 2/10, I believe, is the gap between Davison and himself. But right now we're watching Kabinski to see if he can pull himself up from last place. No driver wants to start last, and Davison has improved again, but it's not enough for pole position. He is into the 16.4s as well. Che Easton up into 3rd, and Adam Hans has also made an improvement. Adam Hans taken it up to P7. Will Sutters is also on a lap, and the qualifying session ended. Crazy. So Dominic Kabinski does not pull himself up from last. That's great. Once again, qualifying ended early. I think we had this, I'm pretty sure we had this last week. But Sutters, I'm not sure if he was improving, but he didn't get set his last lap, but he still is on pole position, 2:16.4. Just ahead of Davison, only half a tenth ahead of Davison, and then a full tenth ahead of Che Easton in P3, snatching that away from Luke Clark. But the GTR's strong tonight. Adib Khan is the first of the Supras, and he's in P5. Then it's Cameron Hill on P6, Adam Hans P7, just at the break, and then Stein van 't Hart in P8. Ruben Thorejo and Jake Witcher win the 2 Team Brown cars in 9th and 10th, kind of where you expected them tonight. And then it is Siltala in the NSX, another not too great performance from the Finn, and even worse performance from Dominic Kabinski, his lap time being cut off short at the end. But we are getting away for the first race of tonight. The first standing start race with the false start check. 7 laps of this hellish track. It's an awful track. 7 laps of this, and it's Will Sutters who is leading ahead of Tyler Davison. You would expect Tyler to get off the start the quickest. Oh, I was saying that, Tyler had a poor start, but he is away the quickest. And Tyler already takes the lead. Expecting a bit more of a lead from him, and Luke Clark almost down the inside of him there. Che Easton as well, just been jumped by Luke Clark. Didn't get best line into turn 1, and Will Sutters has lost out 4 positions off of that start. He's now down into P5, so not the best start for Sutters, but a very great start for Davison and Clark especially. So 2 LCR cars leading out in 1st and 2nd, and is Clark already going for the move for the lead. Luke Clark taking the lead away from his teammate. Racing fair between these two, no rubbing, no bumping, and the position is taken. Luke Clark now the leader of the 2 LCR cars up front. Adib Khan is also gaining positions in the background, side by side with him and Che Easton. Khan going very, very wide there. Easton holding that inside line, and inside next for Khan, and Easton just have to back out of that one. So Adib Khan moves his way up into 3rd as well. And who's that in the background? That is Sam Siltala in the background, I believe, just had an off. It was Will Sutters for a sec. Heart skip to beat. But Sutters taking a very, very narrow line through that corner. Look at that. And that has helped him gain quite a lot on Che Easton. Sutters, will he be willing to sit behind Easton for a little bit? Or is he going to go for the move early? Someone who might be on for a move already is Adib Khan. He is catching up very quickly to the back of Tyler Davison. Tyler's running his mediums in this race. That would be why it was so easy for Clark to get through. We saw him run this strategy last week as well, ran the mediums on the first race after getting pole position in that scenario. And he's running the same strategy again. Will it pay off once more? Because he got the win in race 2, for anyone who does not remember. So will the strategy pay off twice? Time will tell. Who else is on mediums? Oh, quite a lot of drivers are on mediums, my bad. Che Easton as well, following the same strategy. So is Will Sutter, Steinban to Hart, Adam Hans, Jake Witchell, Dominic Kabinski. They're all on mediums this time round. I'd imagine some of that is down to tyre wear concerns more than anything, though. You have to say, you know, the drivers who are good on their tyres will be on display tonight, and those who are not will be also on display. Kind of, that is how being on display works. Right now it is Luke Clark who is still leading this race, putting a bit of a gap between himself and his teammate, who we now know is on the medium compound. Adib Khan, though, is on the softs as well, so Adib going to do his best to try and overhaul Tyler quickly, get him out of the way, and it's just a one-on-one fight for the lead, but surely Tyler knows that as well. Could help his teammate out a little bit here, you'd imagine. Easton finding himself a bit in no man's land here. He's broken away a little bit from Sutters, and Adib Khan has kind of shot off into the lead. But has anything interesting happened at the back? Kabinski's gained a couple of positions, and there is fighting going on between Cameron Hill and Jake Witchell. Witchell taking the inside on this occasion, and I mean, look at the speed loss that McLaren has in the corners. Not even a close competition between these two, and Hill just takes off. It's now Kabinski from Hill, from Witchell, and Thorejo behind. And Hill looks to be pretty quick at this stage. He has got the tyre advantage over the cars around him. I wonder why he's down here in the first place. But Witchell's going for the move on Hill. Witchell going for the overtake on Hill. And Hill, for a moment, had a little gap where he could stick his nose in. Maybe he shouldn't have done on that occasion, because that has hindered his exit. Is anything going on? Not particularly. Luke Clark is growing that lead bigger and bigger. Fucking hell, commentary's on point tonight. Yeah, so Tyler Davison is pulling out a bit of a gap to Adib Khan. Adib is going faster in Sector 1, but that Supra is a bit quicker than the GTR through Sector 1. About a tenth quicker, as Adib is displaying. Not to take away from Lugie's pace here. He still is a tenth up, so Lugie is genuinely on pretty good pace at the moment, but so is Luke Clark by the looks of it, looking at the times on the left. Either way, though, this will be good for Khan to hopefully catch up to Davison finally. And maybe make the overtake. 2.5 tenths up now for Khan. Really picked up the pace this time round. Clark is doing a very good job leading this race, but I think Lugie at this stage has a lot more pace than him. He's catching up massively even to the leader. Khan is very laggy though. I'm not sure whether Davison might have felt a little bit of contact in that one. But it's all fine anyway. Again, Khan going defensive and Davison looking for the gap, but in this battle Khan has lost every advantage he has gained on Clark and more some. And Davison going for that outside's not going to work for him, I don't think. It has not come off for him. In the background, anything going on? Will Sutter's still in P5. Still with that big gap ahead of him to Easton, and Van der Haar having a very quiet race, but an improvement from his qualifying. He's up into P6, qualified P8. So Van der Haar doing a decent job. Nothing wrong with his performance whatsoever. Saying that though, he has just dropped a tyre onto the grass. That maybe could be something you could criticise about his performance. And now he has got Adam Hans quickly closing onto his rears. Will Hans go for the move here? Hans is thinking about it. Hans certainly went for the apex earlier, and I think that may have put Van der Haar off a little bit. Not enough, though, to leave a lasting impact. And Sutters and Easton both battling now. I think Easton may have had some kind of mistake, because now these two are right on each other. Easton having to go defensive to try and keep the position ahead of Sutters. Sutters taking, once again, that very tight line. I'd imagine there's probably some grip on that curve that Sutters has found, which is really helping him through there. Again, the Honda, it doesn't feel too great on the curves around here, but it does manage to find grip on said curves when you can get it on there. GTR, on the other hand, watching these guys do laps in the GTR seems to be the opposite approach to these corners. You kind of want to take a more V'd off approach, whereas Sutters is using the more rounded mentality. And slide on the exit from Easton. Slide as well from Van der Haar in the background, and Kabinski behind that. Still, Sutters caught up to Easton, and that definitely was a mistake from Easton, because he's not, Sutters hasn't really got more pace than him yet. Van der Haar losing out of position there. Does it look like they're going to drag a race down to the line, and Hill pulls back in behind Van der Haar. Couldn't quite make the move there behind him. Once again, Hill going for the outside. Van der Haar covering that inside well. Hill doesn't really have anywhere else to go. Now Hill has Hans to contend with, and surely you think, there you go, this is why not many of the drivers have gone on the soft tyres, because we're on lap 5 of the race, and that is the condition of the soft tyres for Hill's car. Hill in the NSX, which does wear off its tyres a lot slower than all the other cars on the grid, you have to say. So it's quite strenuous on the rubber. To do our check-in on the McLarens, there's Team Brown. They're in P10 and 11. Jake Witchell, the lead of the two, and Ruben Threjo in P11. These two really struggling with the car, I think it's fair to say. There's not really much else they can do. They're not really doing anything wrong. I guess the only wrong thing they did was picking the McLaren, if anything. But this track's really not suited for them, as many of the tracks are on this calendar, just not suited whatsoever for that McLaren. And this might be a common sight. Hopefully not. For their sake, hopefully not. Van der Haar goes very wide through there and practically gives the position to Hill. He says, you take that inside, mate, I don't care. I'm sure he does care. But they're still side by side, coming down into the hairpin. Who breaks the latest? And I believe it is Van der Haar, but might just break a little bit. Saying that, I think Hill break the latest, but Van der Haar actually made the apex, so that is always good. I'm not saying that I expected Hill to make the apex, so that is a tall order, asking for a car to make an apex when there's another on the inside, and he cut that one very close there, did Hill, and is he gonna? He did get away with it, so he did that one very well. Kabinski tries it around the outside, but that's hardly ever going to work. He did overtake Hill, but he didn't get Van der Haar, so still upper position for the pole. However, not on his teammate, and Hans in the background as well is going around the outside of Hill. Hill, though, with the superior grip, still just about with the superior grip. Onto lap 3. And And Hill is still keeping Adam Hans behind him. Oh, might have been a little bit of contact there with Hill definitely going wide. It's fine, he keeps that position anyway. Or can Hans go for the switchback? No. Not enough speed. Oh my god. What have I just cut to Will Sutter's doing? Jesus. Okay, I don't have full perspective on that one, but that looked very argy-bargy. He's already going for the move back, and I can't imagine Sutter's going to fight that one too hard. He's not. So Easton back through. I'm interested to know what I just missed. Sutter's going for the overtake once again and almost tapping Easton's rear. He is tapping Easton's rear there. These two proper going at it, side-by-side action. But Easton stays ahead just about. And again, Sutter's going for that inside. But Easton's got it covered. So Sutter's really not settling for 5th place. He sees Easton in front of him. Easton may be facing some struggles, you have to say. I know he's quite tired today. Racers like to make excuses, but you know that will be something that is affecting his judgment at the very least. But P4 for Easton's actually not too bad considering his circumstances. He is in a nice car for it. Oh, in the background, the two Project 1 cars battling, and Van der Hart staying ahead once again. Adam Hans seems to have overtaken Hill at some point. Hill's tyres, what do they look like? Where is Hill? Well, that gives you an answer on what Hill's tyres look like. The two McLarens ahead of him. And now 2 becomes 3 as the two Project 1 cars and the Team Spirit car are all fighting each other. And up front of them just ahead, the other Team Spirit car is fighting the 515 Honda, but it looks like Stein Van der Hart is just managing to have a little bit of a breakaway here. Kabinski just behind Hans. Hans will be wanting to push up to Van der Hart more than looking behind him at Kabinski. Oh, there's contact. And Hans goes slightly wide. Kabinski doesn't take the position though, fair driving from him. However, this puts Van der Hart out of this battle. He can just surely drive away from this. Now it is all about Hans holding that position ahead of Kabinski. Up front as well, Sutters and Easton battling hard. Sutters once again taking that very, very narrow line. Rounding off the corner. He's done it very nicely. He's done a very, very good job of that one. Well, I don't think it's enough. I do believe that Easton might have enough of a gap to not be under much threat for the rest of this race. And a gap that has gotten a lot smaller is I'm just consciously looking at the track map at the top, at the gap between the lead two. But I don't think it's close enough for anything to happen. Just like I don't think that this gap is close enough for anything to happen either. Sutters and Easton may settle in these positions. There's one last overtaking chance for Sutters, and I don't think it's going to come off for him. We are going to look up front, though, as Luke Clark takes home the race win, his first win of the season, and LCR's second win of the season. Adib Khan comes home in second, then it's Tyler Davison who rounds off the podium. It's a double podium for Team LCR. Che Easton just about keeps ahead of Will Sutters. Sutters 5th. Now it is Van der Hart, followed by Adam Hans, then Dominic Kabinski in 8th, and then the two Team Brown cars in 9th and 10th. Probably a bit better than they would have expected, I think it's fair to say, going into this one. 9th and 10th. They have something to be happy about in that car. Siltala somehow managed to pull ahead of Hill. Hill's tyres really that poor that he fell as far back as where Sam Siltala was. Hill coming home in last, which will be pole position for the next race. Maybe he's learnt that the softs are not the way this time round. There you are. Luke Clark, race winner, clean race bonus as well, up 3 positions. Gained massively on that start and then finally found his pace that he struggled to find in qualifying. Good on him. Good race win, but it was Adib Khan who did get the fastest lap in the end. We were 2:16.6. Tyler Davison was third, and then Jay Easton having, for a lot of that, it was a relatively quiet race, but there was a close battle at the end between himself and Sutters, ending with just a tenth between the two of them. And then there was a close battle pretty much all race, with Stein van der Haar doing a very nice job, going from 8th to 6th, getting one of his best results so far this season. It's Hans and Gabinski in 7th and 8th. And then 2 Team Brown cars, there's not really much to say about them other than they exceeded their expectations a little bit, in being that McLaren really should be dead last. But good job from Ruben Thorejo, you have to say. 2:18.9, fastest of the two. And it is Siltala in 11th with the slowest lap time of everyone, and Hill with one of the faster lap times of everyone. But again, just struggling on those tyres, unfortunately. Maybe he's realised not to use the softs again. We should hope for him, hope for his sake, that he does not use the soft tyres once more. Hill's back out again, and he is on the mediums. So I think he has learnt. Good on him. We are just waiting to get away for the first reverse grid. We are due to get away soon. I think. At least gives me a chance to rest. Oh, bloody hell, we are going now. Here we go, with Hill leading this one. Thanks to that last place finish. And now he has learned from his mistakes in the first one for the tyres. I expect he's got a good shout in this race. But we are away. 2 Hondas leading out, and already they've been jumped by the McLarens, and that is a familiar sight. 2 McLarens leading it first and second into turn 1. Dominic Kubinski as well gaining a couple of positions up into P3. And Witchel's already off after turn 1 into the wall. Witchell not had a good start there, but Thorejo still leads this one off. Thorejo still leading off this race. I've got nothing better to say, really. Dominic Kubinski, though, Dominic Kubinski's on the softs. Oh, that's an interesting call from the Super driver. He thinks he might be able to gain a big enough advantage on those few laps where he does have wear to maybe make it worth it, but it's a bold call from the pole. A little bit of a slide on the exit from Ruben Thorejao. So he taps into the side of Dominic Kubinski, and Kubinski now goes down that inside and finally takes the race win. Stein as well has moved his way up into the top three. So 2 Project 1 cars in the top 3 at the moment. Apologies for the poor commentary tonight. I did kind of hint towards it at the start of this. I find it so difficult to commentate on this track because there's just not really much going on. It's like if anyone's watched MotoGP, I feel like this track would suit like a motorbike race more than this. It's very wide, the corners are just very long, just not much really happens. It's a bit dull. But Kubinski is pulling away from Ruben Thorejao, taking this corner in 3rd. Wow. Is he going to take this one in 4th? Oh my god, he shifted up to 5th. No way he shifts up to 6th. No, he doesn't. He shifts down to 4th. Incredible scenes. Absolutely sensational stuff we are witnessing right now. But Kubinski is still pulling a gap out between him and Thorejao. You kind of expect that. He is on the soft tyres and in the faster car. And his teammate behind Thorejao is currently pushing to try and get P2, but there is battling going on behind. I haven't witnessed that. Tyler Davison is currently in 5th, and he's under a bit of pressure from Jake Witchell. Witchell under pressure from all of the rest of the grid behind him. And Hill's not had a great start. Not sure what's happened to Cameron Hill here. He's not had a good start whatsoever. Still it is Davison who's quickly closing up the gap to the Finn in front, who does not seem to have much pace whatsoever. Davison is lagging a bit all over the place though. Maybe that is just an issue on my end more than his. I've been having quite bad lag issues lately. But in all of that, Steinman de Hart did overtake Ruben Thorejao at one point. Tyler Davison now getting this move done. Doesn't do much practice. He is pretty quick for someone who doesn't practice much, I've got to say. But that pushes him up into P4. And Will Sutters as well is just overtaking his teammate. Sutters also on the softs, but I think that that Honda... I don't know, I say that Honda can do it, but Hill had a very hard time. So, I don't know, maybe that was just the driver? We'll have to see. I know Sutters is pretty decent on his tyres. He usually tends to be pretty alright on his tyres. So maybe he'll get away with it. Looks like also on the softs. Jeez. Easton on the softs too. And that one, I'm not sure how good Easton is going to find the end of this race, but he is risking it on the softs. And we try it around the outside. Not quite. But he is going to try once again around the outside. Does he get it done? He's pushed wide. As long as he stays on the circuit, it's fair though, and he is still on the racetrack, and he just about takes that position. So P6 for Che Easton. Maybe a position gain for Callum Hill on the medium tyre. Now, finally learning from the last race. I think a lot of these soft runners are really going to struggle when it gets to the end of this race. Callum Hill will not be one of them, or Cameron, should I say. We were certainly thinking about a move there, and I think there was contact there as Silsler has just absolutely murked Easton, and now Hill almost makes up 2 positions in one, not quite. Just made up the 1 position. But Hill moves his way up into P7 on the medium tyres, doing a very nice job indeed. Oh, Adam Hans really thought about that inside line there. That would have been a risky one, and a quiet race for Luke Clark as well. Luke's on the mediums, that would make sense. Luke's biggest enemy is the medium tyre on this league. And they are proper going at it. Luke with the send on Hans. Both these two... Oh no, Hans is on the softs, sorry. So Clark is on the mediums, Hans is on the softs. So Luke doing a very nice job indeed. Pretty decent pace on those mediums, I think it's fair to say. Here is the order up at the front, since things have changed. It's Dominic Kabinski, who still leads this race with a pretty big margin to Van der Hart. So it's a 1-2 for Project 1 at the moment. And then Tyler Davison just holds off Will Sutters behind him. These two both on the softs, so what they need to do is just build up as big a gap as they possibly can. Because they've only got a couple of laps, I say a lap at best, before that tyre wear really makes it worse to handle than the mediums. You could argue that they're already at that point. So this is why I'm really debating whether the softs were a good enough strategy. It's an interesting one to be sure, but Davison and Sutters both go wide there, which will definitely not help their endeavours to catch the front 2 whatsoever. Front 2, however, will be laughing with that one. Sutters once again holding the tight line. This is why I say that this track just has multiple different lines you can take into every single corner, and Sutters has really found that that tight line is the one that helps him the most. He feigns the overtake. Davison's smarter than that. But does he get the switchback? He does actually get the exit done much better than Davison. Davison, though, is able to cover that one off for the next corner, and Jesus Christ, his helmet is horrific. Oh my word. So I was not expecting that. Jeez, he's got a Valentino Rossi helmet on. We're still going. Davison in third, and the gap is actually staying relatively the same between these two and the front 2. So these two fighting is actually helping out massively for the prospects of the Project 1 1-2. Sutters looks for the outside doesn't happen. Davison covering this off very nicely. Easton biding his time in the background. Doesn't look like he can really be a part of this, but someone who is having a pretty decent race is Ruben Thorejo, only in 6th. Pretty good job from the McLaren driver, you have to say. I know he started quite far up the grid and he did lead the first lap, but to do that in a McLaren, still be in 6th, you're doing a pretty decent job, Ruben. cannot criticise whatsoever what Ruben Threjo is doing here. Adam Hans is currently stuck to the back of Threjo. Luke Clark as well is catching back up to Adam Hans. Or I say catching back up. I think Threjo is slowing down Adam Hans enough to the point where Clark could possibly catch back up to him. Witchell is now ahead of Siltala. Siltala on the softs, and he really didn't make the most of the soft tyres advantage early on in the race, and now he is suffering more so than he was earlier in this race. He's got Adib Khan for company on the medium tyre. Cameron Hill, though, I don't know what really happened to his race, but he is completely fallen off. Still up at the front, Tyler Davison in no man's land. Will Sutters has kind of dropped off the back of him, and now Che Easton's giving him a hard fight. Hard but fair. Oh, Easton! Oh, he had a nose in. And Sutters, I think, just pushed him a little bit too wide there, and there was a dip on the grass, and Easton almost went round. I think Easton was looking for the move around the outside, couldn't quite make it happen, and just dipped that a little bit too wide. Not really Sutters' fault in that situation. Hans currently in P6 still. Clark now able to give him a bit more company now those softs have fallen off. Can Luke Clark potentially challenge for 6th or higher? I doubt Clark will get much higher than 6th, to be completely honest. But certainly something to say for Adam. Yes, those tyres are going off, but the car is also getting lighter. The car's also getting lighter for the car behind him, though, so any advantage he gains, Luke will have the exact same. We'll jump back up to the lead as we go on to the final lap, and it's looking good for Project One and mainly Dominic Kubinski. Stein van der Hart might be under a little bit of pressure here when we get to the end of the race, but it's looking very good. Dominic Kubinski, as he goes on to the final lap, did not win a single race last season. It looks like last week he had a chance, and this week might be his best chance yet. He's just got one lap to go, and he takes the first corner well, does not make any mistakes, doesn't need to push 100%, because even if he does make some kind of mistake, I mean, yes, he's got Stein van der Hart to defend him, but just don't make mistakes. And he's got this one all tied up, but it's all about, can Tyler Davison catch up to P2 and stop Project 1-1-2. Davison has a lot of pace, a lot more so than van der Hart, and the tyre advantage will be helping him quite a lot. Those softs look very, very poor at the moment, as you would expect. But I don't think the softs was the wrong call for them. I think the soft tyre is what got them in this position in the first place. So van der Hart and Kubinski, I still think, make the right call going on those softs. I mean, it's given Kubinski a race win, and van der Hart, maybe if he can just hold off Davison, gets P2, but at the very least I think this might be a podium for the Dutchman. Oh, he's done a very nice job there defending, has Stein van der Hart. Tyler Davison trying to find every single gap he possibly can, but Stein still holding this one off, and Tyler has only really got 2 more opportunities to overtake him. It's into this next hairpin and the hairpin after that, which is the final corner of the race. Stein has to do everything he can to hold off this position, and he dives straight for the apex, and he takes that corner very nicely despite the tyre disadvantage, and this could be Stein van der Hart about to hold off P2 from Tyler Davison. Stein covering that inside line. Tyler will try and go around the outside, maybe go for a switchback. Tyler will do anything he can to get past Stein van der Hart, but it's not going to be enough. And with Dominic Kubinski coming up ahead of him for first place, it's going to be a Project 1-1. Is it going to be 2? Project 1-1-2 with Stein and Dominic Kubinski first and second. Tyler Davison only just holds third place. It's a drag race down to the line. Will Sutters P4, Che Easton P5, Luke Clark P6, Adam Hands with the P7, then it's Ruben Thorejo in P8, Jake Witchell in P9, just ahead of Adib Khan in P10, and then it is Sam Siltala on completely the wrong strategy and did not make the most of those tyres whatsoever, coming home P11, and Cameron Hill, I think, got himself involved in some kind of incident, because the pace is certainly there for him. Unfortunate for the Honda driver. There you go, a 1-2 for the team, which I think that, no, they've certainly had a 1-2 before in GTRC, but certainly Dominic Kubinski having his first win of the season and his first win in 2 seasons, I'm sure that is something he'd be quite happy about. But here is the race results. Fastest lap in the end did go to Tyler Davison, only man in the 16s by the looks of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yep, only man in the 16s. And apparently Dom is shaking. So Don seems to be quite happy about that one. Up a couple positions from the start. But we are on for the final reverse grid of the night, which is the rolling start reverse grid. And that one was a bit more interesting than the first race, I think it's fair to say. Once again, Cameron Hill is starting on pole position for this one, and can he take this one? You just hope so. Just needs to keep his nose clean in this one, keep out of trouble. The rolling start will help him in that situation. What tyre is he on? He's on softs. Yeah, the rolling start will help him in that scenario, and if he's on the soft tyres, he might be able to pull away early, just as Kubinski did. For those not tuned into the drama, by the way, there is currently one of the drivers on this grid complaining a lot that people were messing about in the practice session before the race. I don't really know how much it affected him, but considering he's been at the back of the grid in all 3 of these, or 2 of these races, sorry, he's not at the back of the grid yet. He will be. But considering he's been at the back for all night tonight, very, very sorry that you couldn't get your practice in, mate. Now go have your hissy fit, you little baby. Get used to it. He bitches and moans all the time in every league that he's in, including his own one, actually. He's a horrible admin. Horrible to the drivers he's an admin for. So I do not feel any upset whatsoever. But we are away for the 3rd and final race. Cameron Hill is leading off in the Honda NSX with the soft tyres. Just ahead of Sampa, and Adib Khan is just behind him, and Adib, I imagine, will get this position pretty easily. tucks into the slipstream, and all 3 wide in the background momentarily is Adam Hands in P5, just overtaking one of the Team Brown cars. But this has been a good old start for Cameron Hill, who already pulls out a big gap. Adib Khan goes for the move down the inside. Khan makes that one look easy, little bit of contact. They're still side by side. Oh, that's a lovely move from Adib Khan as he's all over the curb on the exit, maximises every bit of track he possibly can. Oh, what's happened to Cameron Hill? Oh my word, completely missed that one. Saw it in the background, something's happened to him. It looks like he spun on that corner, and that is his race over, I think. Oh dear. That has gone so many types of wrong, and this has not been Cameron's night. Not whatsoever. It's gone so poorly for him. So now the new race leader is Adib Khan, ahead of Jake Witchell. And Adam Hands, oh my word, Adam Hands just about gets that position ahead of Siltala. Again, very easy one for him. Looked like Siltala wasn't even moving on that one. No bias whatsoever, I'm just saying out how it looked, which is true, it did look like that. I don't need to hype up all the drivers here. Someone I do need to hype up though is Tyler Davison, because oh my word, he found that inside line with Easton going wide. Get used to me saying it looked easy, because Tyler Davison almost got ahead of Easton there. But Hands has made the overtake ahead of Witchell, just ahead of these two. Witchell thinking about the overtake back, but doesn't quite make it stick. However, someone who does make a very last second lunge down the inside is Che Easton on Witchell. That was very brave from him. And so brave, in fact, it has actually cost him for the next corner. Sutters is up into 7th, and Gawinski, following that win in the last race, started in last. He's currently up into 9th already. On that one. I thought my internet was going to go there for a second. Up front, Adib Khan pulling out a big lead to the rest of the grid. Two Project 1 cars off the back of their 1-2, currently in 8th and 9th. Made a decent start up the grid. Behind them, Till. And Thorejo with a half-second penalty. Have you picked that one up, Ruben? Ruben, by the way, asking before this race, are penalties on, because of how difficult it was to pick up a penalty around here. And somehow he's picked up a penalty in this race. But he is currently holding off the position of not last, which is essentially a win. So go on, Ruben, you got this. Davison and Hands fighting hard, and both once again side by side going into the hairpin. Minor tap of the rear on Davison. Now Davison surely pulls ahead, and he does. Davison now through into third. Hans, I think, would be a bit of a fool to battle this one hard, but he is going for it anyway. He goes for the move, but he doesn't make it stick, and Davison stays ahead in P3. Now in an LCR sandwich. Or could you say that Davison is now in a Team Spirit sandwich? Oh, Hans! Adam Hans! I jinxed it as Adam Hans goes flying off the circuit, had a little bit of a snap on the exit, and that is Adam Hans out of this one. Will Sutters, though, not really under much pressure from the two cars behind him because they are battling, and Dominic Kubinski stays ahead of Steiner, Van der Hart. Up front, should we check again? It is still Adib Khan who leads this race, but the gap has come down by about a second between himself and Che Easton. Easton is absolutely flying with the fastest lap, 16.4. So Che Easton looking like he might be within a long shout for the race win. Certainly doesn't look the most possible, but not the most impossible either. It's Che Easton, once again, taking that wider lines side by side with Witchell, not giving Witchell any more room. Can he do it around the outside? Has that car got enough grip? Witchell covers that nicely. Sutters having to move back down into 6th. Didn't actually get the move done at all. Very nice job, to be fair, covering off these cars with a car as weak as this. And apparently I've got very poor connection quality that is broadcasting only mic audio, so we're going to have to do this like a radio as Will Sutters goes down the inside of Witchell on the final corner. And Jake Witchell now loses out 2 positions as well as Dominic Kubinski snuck through behind them. Now it is Will Sutters, and Witchell has pulled back ahead because of the straight line speed. He's now pulled ahead of Will Sutters as well. 3 wide going into turn 1. Oh, there's contact. There's contact as Hill goes into the back of Witchell, and Witchell into the back, Hill into the back of Sutters, and Sutters into the back of Witchell, should I say. Now Sutters firmly up into 6th. Luke Clark up ahead, not really under any pressure from any of these lots, should I say. But it is Hill who is now in 6th place. Gaining a little bit. There was contact, for sure there was contact, which may get looked at, depending on if anyone reports it. And apologies for the stream not being the best tonight. Kind of had a feeling this would happen, but I was tempted to say, oh yeah, there's going to be no stream tonight, but it would have been, you know, it's better to try. Better to try. I've been having connection issues all night, but better to try instead of just giving up. Oh, Kubinski going very wide in the background there and almost going off. Van der Hart is putting him under a lot of pressure now. And Van der Hart does pull ahead of Kubinski. I'm not sure if this is going to fix itself, to be fair. I don't know why it's not fixing itself. To update on the leaders, though, Adib Khan is still leading ahead of Che Easton, and the gap has gotten bigger between the two. It is now 2.6 seconds, up from 2 seconds dead. So Easton not really keeping up the pace he had earlier on. Davison, however, is catching up to Easton. 1.5 between the two of them. And then it's Sutters and Hill side by side going into turn 1. So Hill looking to gain P5. Hill tries it round the outside. Sutters holding that tight line as he's been doing all night. Oh, Sutters has pushed Hill a little bit too wide there, I think. Hill losing out on that one. They were side by side. They are no longer side by side, and Hill's flashing his headlights in dismay. He is not happy with that one. The positions for 7th and 8th have been swapped, and Steinman to Hart is now in 7th, Dominic Gawinski is now in 8th, Jake Witchell is in 9th behind the two of them, 1.3 seconds. Behind Witchell is his teammate Ruben Thurejo, and then Adam Hans is currently last following that spin. Adib Khan once again pulling out more of a gap. It's now 3.6 between Khan and Easton. Now 4 seconds between Khan and Easton. So Easton is struggling with the tyres. And looking at the difference between the tyres, oh my word. Khan is only really missing a quarter of his wear off of the front right. Easton, I mean, you wouldn't be blamed to say there's only a quarter left on the front right. It's not, it's about 40% left on the front right. But Easton has not managed his tyres very well whatsoever. And Davison is right on his heels. Davison has also not got spectacular tyres, but Davison still is carrying the speed well enough ahead or against Easton. Back now to Stein van der Hart, who's just overtaken Cameron Hill for P6. So Hill losing out massively after, I'm not sure if there was contact between himself and Sutters. I think Sutters technically did leave him enough room, but it was very hard fighting and did not end well for Hill. Van der Hart still P6 ahead of Hill. Hill's gone wide again out of turn 1. Behind the two of them, there's a 2.5 second gap. It's Dominic Gawinski in P8, just about holding off Jake Witchell, who is half a second behind him. And there's been a move for P6. Well, briefly there was a move for P6, and that Hill got ahead of Van der Hart at the entrance of the corner, but Van der Hart pulled ahead once again at the exit. Now coming down to the hairpin, it's Van der Hart still ahead of Hill. Hill trying to find any gap he possibly can. It's not working out for him. Up into P2 now, as Che Easton is finally under a lot of pressure from Tyler Davison as we are on the final lap. Easton doing his best to hold off that position. It's deja vu for Tyler Davison, who was in this exact same position against Stein van der Hart in the last race, trying to get P2 on the last lap. But this time Tyler can do it as he goes for the switchback at the second to last hair, or third to last hairpin, shall I say. Coming back onto the Yamagiwa circuit. As Davison is up into P2, Easton in P3. They're side by side once again into the second to last hairpin. Davison's missed out on the exit there, and Easton's managed to sneak up the inside, but they are still side by side. And Davison, I think, will get that position back. But I thought wrong, as Easton has just taken it from him. Easton, oh, they're side by side again. They go into the final corner, and we'll look up the front as Adib Khan is winning this race and winning it well. And Tyler Davison has just taken the position, snuck up the inside of Easton, takes the position. That's P2 for Davison, P3 for Easton, P4 for Clark, 5th for Sutters, and then 6th for Van der Hart, 7th for Hill, and then it is 8th for Witchell, 9th for Kawinski, both going slow over the line. Thurejo in 10th, still sort of just about holding off 11th. And And then it is Hans in P12 following a spin earlier on in the race. But there you go. Apologies for that, the race having to end that way. But the race winner is Adib Khan for his first win of the season. So we've had 3 different winners tonight, I believe. Yes. 3 different winners tonight, 6 different winners so far this season. And it is Adib Khan who is the newest of those. But anyways, apologies for the poor end to the stream. I hope you can even still hear me. The PlayStation's telling me you can still hear me. But you can't see the screen apparently. So with that, I am going to end the stream. Thank you all so much for joining us this week. And I will see you all next week. Same time next week. Not sure what track we're racing at, but it'll be something.